Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, hosted by two nationally published Atlanta interior designers, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. These energetic women are also world travelers, charity givers, and bloggers with a wealth of information to share and stories to tell about the interior design world. Okay, now just a warning, this is going to be fun and not too serious. After all, they still do have an interior design business running at full speed.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. This is episode 30, and we are going to chat about our latest new build project that we're super excited about. It is in Kiawah Island, South Carolina, which is just about 45 minutes outside of Charleston. And we started working on this project, oh my gosh, like over a year ago. I think we were interviewing architects with our client, and we're finally at a point where we're making considerable progress. And so we were there last week for 3 days, and we just really made a lot of great progress. And so we thought we would share our journey with you so far on this project, because these new build projects are really intense. And so there's a lot going on that you might be interested in. So for those of you that are familiar with Kiawah, this house is through the second gate. It's by the river course, which is just an incredible area. It's situated on the marsh, and it's got these massive oak trees that are draped in Spanish moss, and the breezes are beautiful. So we were very lucky to be working on this project.
It really is. It's like heaven on earth. It's a beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah.
So as we've mentioned many times, we're only as good as the professionals that we partner with. So our partners in this project consisted of an architect who is Robbie Lesslie, who's with Cumulus Architecture and Design out of Charleston. And his role was to work with the client, who is Jen, to work with her vision, and then to make sure everything is kosher with the Architectural Review Board. And then
which is no small feat,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, they want to protect the trees, the landscape. As you can see, it's all still very, very lush through there. They don't just go level trees.
No, these huge houses are built and they preserve these massive trees, so they build a lot slower than normal.
And then the builder, Mangan, with Mangan Custom Homes. And he's the builder. A lot of conversations with him to make sure that everything happens. And he's just really, really been a pleasure to work with. Mm-hmm. Not all builders are. And another partner is Shannon, who is the kitchen cabinet designer. And we had a really, really good meeting with him, because we need to, it's a very large kitchen. We need to decide where the functionality needs to be, where all of these, because there's a lot of extra appliances than your typical kitchen. Mm-hmm. A couple of dishwashers, a wine fridge, a ice maker, mm-hmm. And all that good kind of stuff.
So then there were a couple other people that we spent quite a bit of time with. Ricky Farthing with Ferguson. We had to get all of the appliances and some of the lighting just finalized, because we're at the framing place. So we've got rough-ins going in for plumbing. So we had to get that finalized. When we were done with Ricky, we popped over to Palmetto Tile. This is all in North Charleston. And we met with Kaylin there, and we were going through all of the tile. This house has 6 bathrooms, and then the kitchen and the laundry room and the butler's pantry, so we've got a lot of stone going on, and we had so much fun working with her. And then after, we weren't tired enough, the next day we went to AGM Imports and worked with Melanie there to pick out all the countertops to go with all the tile we had picked at, mm-hmm. and stone that we had picked at Palmetto Tile.
But it was really great because you could really start to see everything kind of coming together, how the tile worked with the countertop, and how the plumbing is, we're doing some very, very cool things.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of go through all that we accomplished, because I think that, of course, this is a custom home, and not everybody might have the chance to build a custom home. But if you're doing a remodel in your home, which so many people are, you can take everything that we're telling you today and really apply it to maybe your smaller project, because a renovation really is a completely custom job a lot of the times. So, for example, the first meeting that we had with Shannon, was to review all of the custom cabinetry. So he's making everything from scratch in his facility. He's custom finishing it, which is fantastic. We can pick any, Sherwin-Williams color, Benmore color that we want. But the real conversation that we were having with Jen was the functionality of the kitchen and how, she's left-handed and what kind of things that she likes in her kitchen. Does she like roll-out drawers? Does she like spice drawers? Does she like anything on her countertops at all? Does she want to hide it all?
And it wasn't really just the kitchen. It was the butler's pantry, which is right off the kitchen. And then the laundry room is right there too, because there's going to be cabinetry in there. So it was making all three of these areas to work. And then also in the laundry room, we're going to have a little desk for her so that, he's going to probably build that too. So there was a lot of talk about how this was all going to work. And it's interesting because as we sat down and started looking at it, we decided that would be a better idea to swap the butler's pantry and the powder room. And you're thinking, wait, how could that happen? But when we actually walked the site, it's different when you see things on paper because the way it was situated, the butler's pantry was going to be where you could really see it as you came in from the screen-in porch. And I was like,
and it had a window in it. And we were like, a window that looked out at the marsh. And we're like, why is this butler's pantry in a prime real estate place? Let's shove it to the back. So we ended up, Robbie's going to kill us when Mo tells him what we did in our meeting, but because we, God bless Robbie and his beautiful plan, but we really swapped it around. But because we really got to talking with Jen, and her point was she really wanted, in the butler's pantry, we had originally planned for a wine refrigerator and
ice maker,
and maybe did we have a separate? No, we didn't have a separate dishwasher. We had a separate. No, it was just the wine fridge and the ice maker. So she didn't want, and we all kind of walked through this together. She didn't want her family and her guests coming all the way from the family room, all the way through the kitchen and into the butler's pantry, which was essentially the bar. So we took all of those components and we moved them to this part of the kitchen that was just going to be like a wide expanse of cabinets.
Yeah.
And left the pantry really just to be a pantry.
Right. And then this expanse where, was just cabinets, that became the bar, which was really right next to the family room. So if you're in the family room, you want to get up to get a drink, you're not having to walk through the entire kitchen. It's really much closer. And so after we made this decision, we were like, all felt really good about it because it just seemed to make a lot more sense.
And it was so freeing to have this flexibility, because when we're walking the site with Mo, which was what we did after we left Shannon, it was no big deal. We're there with the foreman, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll change that header and open that door." And we were like, "Okay." I was afraid to tell him to make this big change. He didn't care. Nope.
No, it wasn't a big deal.
So we also ended up opening up. So we have this butler's pantry that now we've swapped to the back of the house, and we have this powder room that's closer up and with the pretty window that looks out to the marsh. So then we opened up that door a little bit more so that we could do a barn door.
Yeah. So now, off of the kitchen, to go to the powder room, there's a beautiful barn door, and it's really like right in sight. So we're going to make that. It won't be a barn door, but it'll be a very cool door, and it'll be used all the time. And for coming in and outside, it's in a great spot now. So.
Yeah, so that was great. And this powder room, this was an exciting swap because Jen, our client, had always wanted this powder room to be a gem. And so we needed a jump off for her. So we had spent Wednesday just kind of frolicking around Charleston, and we went into one of our favorite stores, Fritz Porter, and she saw one of our artists that we love, Whitney Stoddard, who does these. What is her art exactly?
Well, okay, so it's done on paper, and a lot of them are tea stained.
So they're kind of smoky cigar looking.
And then a lot of them are faces, but there are dresses and there are different things. But you could really recognize her work by these women's faces, and their hair is kind of like bubbly. It's got sort of a French. Look her up on Instagram.
Black ink.
Whitney Stoddard, Stoddard. Yeah, and it's like an ink, and
her work is so unique. I've never seen anything.
So what was so great was there, like we said, a lot of times the jump off is art or fabric, or whatever. So the jump off for this room was that art, and we're going to do it's got really high ceilings, and we're going to do a really nice gallery with all that.
So we'll get back to that and what we found at Palmetto Tile and AGM Granite because of that art. But anyway, so we're still on the site visit with Mo. We've talked about swapping these two rooms, and then we opened up the doorway. That was exciting.
Well, I have to say, here it was in August.
Yeah.
And, visiting a job site, I
thought we would die.
The air conditioning's not working, so I tried to wear the coolest thing that I possibly had. But I was never hot in there. There are these breezes that come off that marsh.
Incredible.
That was really, really beautiful.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So,
yeah. So what else did we do when we were on that site visit with Mo? Oh, we talked about the beams.
Yes, we talked about the beams. So he had taken us to a home that he had built just up the road. And so it was really great for us to see some of the things. And he had done these beautiful reclaimed wood beams that were that perfect
like a washed
driftwood gray. So, that was great because okay, we want those. And then we went back and discussed where those beams would go. And then we also discussed in the foyer, the way the ceiling is, we were able to do a barrel.
So cool.
Yeah. So, a way so that we could figure out how we can do a really pretty chandelier there. We're going to do some pretty gas lanterns on the outside. So, this is where, you're there and it's framed. And this is where you can kind of do things before walls go up and try to make some, some adjustments.
That barrel was exciting because when you walk into the house, before you kind of come into the main room, there's this long hallway, and it was really quite an expanse. And so to make that barrel there is going to make it so interesting. And we're going to do a run of probably 3, maybe even 4 pendants lighting coming down. But then the next question was, do you want to dress the barrel with a kind of woodwork? Do you want a beadboard? Do you want a shiplap? Do you want any kind of treatment whatsoever? And we were able to go to another house that Mo built and give Jen a visual, because she really is that kind of client that can only make decisions when she sees something in person, and then she can make a quick decision, which is nice. It's more labor intensive on our part, but it's at least when she sees it, she makes a very firm, quick decision. And so she saw his was kind of paneled and she didn't like it. So we're going to keep it kind of plain for her.
Yeah.
But we also got to talk about the doors. So we decided that we're going to do, it's a huge glass door. The center door is 44 inches wide.
And it's paned. It's a pane door.
Completely paned. And then the side lights are actually 36 each. So we have a massive expanse of door because we want you to be able to, when you walk up, you're going to look straight through that door and through to the marsh, straight through the back of the house.
Yeah. Actually, when we toured another home, same kind of thing. We started walking up the driveway. And as you're walking up the stairs, you can see the see the water as you walked up. You could see the total blue. There'd be no reason to. And a lot of people have mahogany doors there, which we
didn't like
were
that.
not a fan of those. Not in those kind of houses. But.
Yeah. The other thing that we saw with Mo, and I just love learning from people like him. It's he doesn't do what we do, and we don't do what he does, but collaboratively we can make dreams come true, as they say. And
that's a good quote.
Yeah. And so he wanted to show us these new recessed, everybody has recessed lights in their house, but he's doing these 2-inch ones. They're square. They're made by Juno, which is a manufacturer that he really likes. And I'm going, 2 inches? How can that possibly give off enough light?
But they flood, and it's a beautiful, not too bright white, but it is. I could see why he wanted to show them to us in a room, because I couldn't believe how much it lit that room, and it was just so sleek. Like you didn't really notice it. They're not these big, wide, circles,
and they were
in the
square,
ceiling.
so they were a little
Yeah.
cooler. But we decided we're going to do, I think we're doing 4-inch cans in the family room, but in the bathrooms, because Jen really wants to do sconce lighting, and you know how sconce lighting just doesn't always give you the best light. We're going to have the 2-inch guys up above in the ceiling so that the bathrooms will still be really bright, but we'll get the aesthetic that we want with the sconces.
Yeah.
So that was cool. You know, he just had lots of ideas. He's such a great builder. So after we met with him, we went on to a palmetto tile.
Yeah. Oh, wow. There is so much you can do with tile these days. There was one bathroom that we really hadn't nailed down. And one of them was the powder room, just because we were looking for that jump off point. So once we knew we were doing that Whitney Stoddard art, we found that tile in 3 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that made it really easy. But then Kelly comes upon this beautiful octagon tile that has a 14 karat gold bee in the center. It was just amazing. So we were trying to figure out how we could use this, and it would have been a little busy to have the bee in the center of all those. So we're talking about this tile company can do custom work. So having them make the octagon maybe bigger, making the bee a little bigger, and doing that in the front entrance of the foyer. So giving it a little.
Of course, Mo was like, you're kidding me, right? Like, no, for real. It's really, really beautiful. We're not crazy. So that was a whole discussion. Okay, the door's 44. You know, you walk in. We have this hallway, you know, to deal with, so we can do these octagon marbles. But how many bees do we want? So he was rolling his eyes at us. But back to that powder room, the tile floor that we picked was kind of a really cool shape, geometric shapes with black marble diamonds, but it was Venetian honed, and I had never heard of that before. But the Venetian honed, if you look at the tile from the side, it has a little bit of a poof, like the tile is a tiny bit rounded, like a pillow. It's just it's
the slightest detail, it really made it unique.
Yeah.
And then let's see, then we went to Ferguson, which is a beautiful, beautiful showroom in North Charleston.
It really is a great one.
And we worked with Ricky there, who was awesome, so helpful. And you know, the appliances was, you know, there's a lot of decisions to make with appliances. I mean, these are expensive items, and these are things you're going to use almost every day. So we went kind of round and round with, you know, the Sub-Zero, the Thermador, you know, the Perlick, you know, for the wine fridge. So it was a really collaborative. You know, he kind of talked about what he sells a lot of, you know, kind of compared with what Kelly and I saw at K-Biz. We're going to end up doing that entertainer's dishwasher, which we've talked about before, because like we said, this is really an entertaining type of house. There's going to be a lot of wine glasses. There's going to be a lot of glasses. So looking at all the appliances, and even that Thermador, it had the soft closed doors. I can't tell you how many times I've bashed my oven door.
Yeah.
So yeah, these appliances are sleek.
Well, cool. This was another really collaborative time with us and Jen, because kind of like the cabinetry, when we really got to thinking about the kitchen, she's like, you know, I've never had 2 dishwashers. I think it's really weird. And I'm like, well, think about all the entertaining you do. I think you'll really like it. Why don't we just do an entertainer's dishwasher, which is all for glassware, and put it over in the bar area in the kitchen that we moved from the butler's pantry. And she was like, oh yes, I'm much more comfortable, you know, with that idea. Then we had, you know, in the kitchen, there was a prep sink. She's like, I don't really think I'll use that. So we were like, okay, why don't we move that over to our little bar too? And then you can use it for prep or bar. So we ended up kind of really, again, swapping stuff. And we had a conversation about the stove. Originally, she and Ricky had picked a 36-inch Wolf that was gorgeous. And Joanne and I are looking at it going,
it's not very big.
That's that's small, Jen. This is a huge kitchen. You got tons of people here. That is not going to be big enough, and you only have one oven. That's really going to bug you at holiday time. So then that opened up a whole discussion as to, well, where do we put double ovens? Or maybe we just do warming drawers and where to put them. And so, it turned into this whole conversation that really, because you gotta talk about these things. This is functionality. This is an expensive home, and we want to get it right.
We all walked away feeling really, really good because we hashed it all out, and at the end of the day, like everything that we did made a lot of sense.
Yeah. So after we left Ferguson, I think we were dead. Yeah, we were like, no can do, no more. So we went back and had a beautiful dinner at the River Course, and we woke up in the morning, went back to North Charleston, went into AGM Granite, just so that we could walk into a steamy, hot warehouse and sweat like no other.
Well, it was really nice. They were ready for us, and they had like a cart, which we put all of our tile on, which was really good because we could see it all.
Yep.
And then open the door, and you walk into the oven. And it's like, oh boy, we looked at each other going, oh boy.
Yeah.
This is,
oh well.
We're going to be sweating our tails off in here. So we tried to make quick decisions, but
we had a lot to pick.
Oh my God, we picked some really, really beautiful stuff. Decided to do a quartz on the countertops in the kitchen and run it up the backsplash behind the stove and under the beautiful range hood.
Yes. And this is the issue that happens when you have a very visual client. So we were visiting one of the houses that Mo had built, and they had taken the marble all the way up the whole entire wall in the kitchen. And so, of course, Jen was like, I have to have that. So,
yeah. But it's called Calcutta.
Oh, it was,
I can't remember. There's so many names. They're really so hard to remember. But this one had veining that had a lot of the gold and the gray, and we're going to do some really pretty brass pendants. So I think the mix of that gray and that gold is going to be really, really pretty. Jen has a little bit more of a
elegant, elevated taste.
Yeah. She's not a rustic girl at all.
No, this isn't really a coastal per se house. I would. In its design aesthetic. So, oh my gosh. But the other thing that we added when we moved the bar from the butler's pantry into the family room is we added another bar in the screened-in porch. And we picked this granite that looks like the bottom of the sea. It's like greens and
real swirly.
Tons of movement, but one of the prettiest I've ever seen. It was it's going to be amazing. So we really had some fun. We did a lot of quartz, a little granite. We really didn't do any. We did marble
in a couple of the bathrooms.
In the powder room, I think, but not in any of the upstairs bathrooms because we just couldn't trust the kids to not.
This is one of the hardest things about doing a podcast is because all these things that we're talking about are so visually beautiful.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to, I guess, in the show notes, maybe of this particular episode, is throw up some pictures of some of these things that we're talking about because you can't even describe that granite.
Yeah. We'll put some pictures up. We took pictures of everything we chose. But so that was fun. But we stayed away from some of the marbles just because it's a very porous stone and we've got a lot of kids in the house.
And they're doing such a great job with the quartz. It really, really looks very, very much like marble.
Yeah. So if you can imagine, we're walking through the yard and we're looking at all the slabs in person. And we've got the tiles on our cart that we had picked for flooring, shower walls, this, and we were looking for countertops. So that's what this part of our project was. And just pulling it all together.
Very, very productive couple of days.
It really was.
So it was one of those work hard, play hard, because right after the trip to the granite yard, Kelly went back with Jen to stay at her place in Kiawah. I went to meet up with my husband and my daughter who lives in Charleston. And, we went out to dinner and we're planning her wedding. So we did a few things like that. But Kelly got to go see Hootie and the Blowfish.
Oh, yes. My birthday celebration just continues.
Keeps on going.
It just keeps on going. So Jen, who's she's actually my my college roommate we've been friends for 30 years. And so she got pit tickets. So we literally, I was looking up Darius Rucker's nose basically, and I've seen him many times in concert, and I can't even speak when I'm in his presence. It was such an amazing concert. It was really good to be that close.
It really was a great weekend. We just love Charleston. All roads lead to Charleston for us. And Whitney Stoddard, that artist, she's from Charleston.
Yeah, we have a lot of great artists that we love from Charleston.
Yeah.
Oh, and the food, so darn. But it was a work hard, play hard. We got a lot done, and we'll be going back in October to do the electrical walk with Mo and see what else is, what other challenges are coming about. But so we just kind of wanted to walk you through that because it's a big part of what we do, and it's intense and it's time consuming, and they're long projects. I mean, we won't finish this project for a good another at least 9 months. Would you say?
Yeah.
So anyway, let's just do our quotes, and we'll be done.
Okay.
You want to do inspirational, or do you want me to do it?
It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
All right. So I picked a word this time. So it's numinous. It's an adjective, but I think it's so perfect for our talk today. Describing an experience that makes you fearful yet fascinated, awed yet attracted, the powerful personal experience of being overwhelmed and inspired.
That's pretty cool.
And that was totally us this week.
Yeah. Where'd you find this word?
I think I don't know, Instagram probably.
It reminds me of Alexa Hampton. When she speaks, we have to get a dictionary, but she uses the coolest words, and they have such great meanings. And I love this.
And I thought of her when I saw this.
Yeah.
So numinous. We're just going to use that from now on because we're working on so many projects right now that scare the living beep out of us. But we're still doing it.
All right. The funny quote, Kelly found this one, and literally this might be the funniest one that we've ever said. Okay. And it comes from Vivid Hue Home. If we all just switched to cursive and stick shift cars, we could cripple an entire generation. It's the truth.
Oh, the thought of crippling the millennials is kind of like sinister and hilarious.
Speaking of the millennials, I have to give a shout out to my daughter's friend Dexter. He's just bought a house, and he just started listening to our podcasts, and he was at my daughter's, and he got on the phone, and he said, I just have to tell you that we are obsessed with your podcast. I really loved episode something, and I really loved the quote from this episode and that episode. I was like, oh my God. Okay, so Dexter, thank you for listening.
Yay! Well, thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly weekly for a lively conversation about trends, travels to industry events, current design projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly, do's and don'ts, product recommendations, and more. Be sure to follow the fun on Facebook. They're on Instagram at Candrak-Cole, and of course, you've got to visit them online at candrak-cole.com for more information.